This is the broadcast of Back Roads of Illinois. We are bringing latest agricultural news and markets update on Back Roads of Illinois. Bring you like inside of the markets and interview with people in the agricultural industry for farmers and ranchers in central Illinois and across the Midwest. Today's edition of Back Roads of Illinois. We were Central Illinois agriculture source, and in the Midwest alongside in Central Illinois agriculture, we were glad you're here on a Wednesday. Today, we were joining with Chad Hart from Iowa State University Extension. We were talking about the farm economy and ethanol industry for right now with tariffs to China. The corn yields are a pretty high record for this year in central Illinois near Peoria between Bloomington. It's pretty great with beautiful weather in central Illinois. Otherwise, this time is for your agricultural news and markets. The corn acreage numbers were friendly, otherwise the beans and the wheat was pretty normal for this report. Potential strike in the East Coast port in New York. Probably the strike could be impact on the supply chain and demand. Demand is higher than previously years. Mexico has a new president as Claudia Sheinbaum became the first female president of Mexico. Meanwhile, the corn market is starting falling apart without any issues with their weather in Mexico. We were coming back with our guest Chad Hart from Iowa State University. This is your opening bell numbers of the commodity markets from Kyle Bumstead from Allendale Inc. Corn futures are up to 4 to 6 cents. Soybean futures are down at 6 to 8 cents at the quarter. Wheat futures are down at 5 to 10 cents. This is your livestock markets update sponsored by Kyle Bumstead from Allendale Incorporated. Cattle futures are up to 4 to 6 cents. Feeder cattle are up at 5 to 6 cents at the half. Lean hogs are up at 5 to 4 cents. Crude oil are up to 8 to 9 cents per barrel. Dow Jones are up to 8 points. This been your morning markets update on Back Roads of Illinois. Today, we were joining with Chad Hart from Iowa State University Extension. We were talking about the farm economy and ethanol industry for right now with tariffs to China. How are things in the farm economy?
The farm economy has struggled over the past 18 months. We have seen commodity prices, corn, soybean, wheat prices fall fairly systematically. We've also seen, let's call it mixed results within the livestock markets. And as USDA has looked at farm incomes, they have seen those shrink over the last couple of years. But it does look like we're beginning to maybe find some stability here as we enter harvest of 2024. And we do see some bright spots. As you mentioned, the ethanol industry has been producing at near record levels over the past year, at least. And that's been creating some stronger demand for our crops as we're looking forward.
We know that the commodity prices are declining for right now, but March corn is up at 4.28. What's your mind?
I think as we're looking there, like I say, we have seen, let's call it some improvement on the demand side of the market here.
Um,
Looking at this year's crops, we know we're looking at the possibility of record yielding corn and soybean crops, and that had prices on the decline over the first 8, 9 months of this year. But as we look at ethanol's continued strength and using of corn, as we look at improved export potential, as we look out especially for corn, we have seen those prices rally recently with one of the big indications, coming out last week with the grain stocks report showing that we had a little bit less corn in storage than we had originally thought. So that shows usage is building and that is helping brighten the future at least a little bit here as we're looking within the farm economy.
Chad, we are watching the farm economy and inflation. What is your thoughts about it?
Well, and you bring up another big key here. As we're looking at inflation, we have seen those inflation rates slow down. We're still seeing some high cost, high prices out there. But we've seen enough, and the Federal Reserve has seen enough reduction in inflation that they've started to ease interest rates. And with those lower interest rates, that's again another thing that is helping improve the outlook for the farm economy because we won't be spending quite as much as we first feared when it comes to like interest costs as we're looking out there. So, as I mentioned, is the farm economy strong right now? No, we've seen it weaken fairly significantly over the past couple of years. But do we think we maybe have hit a trough and are starting to work our way back up again? I think there are some early signs that maybe that is what we're doing right now. We're trying to slowly build back up, get that demand back up, which could help stabilize prices and start to improve those prices over time. And then as that improves, then our farm incomes will improve, then the farm economy will improve.
You're watching the Mississippi River for right now.
Definitely, I'm watching the Mississippi River, both in terms of what we see with the, possibility of the port strike. That's a hard word for me to say, port.
uh,
Starting to take effect on the East Coast and within the Gulf Coast as well, but also the Mississippi River levels that have been very low and limiting our ability to move crops down the river and move supplies back upriver. So I think we've got both of those issues that still are overhanging the market as we look at how we utilize the Mississippi to reach those export markets. And to me, that's a crucial market to watch because when you think about where do we see our biggest swings within the farm economy, I would argue those most of that swing does come from the international demand side of the equation. We tend to see low prices when exports are struggling. We tend to see higher prices when exports are flowing. This year is sort of what we experienced last year, where we saw the Farm Bill, of course, expired a couple of days ago. And we won't likely get a new one until we move into December. And it's likely what we're going to do is extend the current one for another year in order to give Congress more time to consider possible changes to a new Farm Bill.
What happened with the ARC and PLC?
ARC and PLC, if we as we go forward right now, those payments will still exist, but there won't be any updating of the program. And the big challenge would be next spring, would you be able to sign up for a new one? Well, if we don't get a new farm bill in place or extension in place, then you wouldn't be able to sign up next spring. Under the scenario I just laid out, and basically what we played out this past year, we would extend the farm bill. It would be under the same regulation or rules, if you will, that we're under right now, and life would go on as normal. What's likely going to happen too is that if we get a new farm bill, both the Republicans and Democrats have indicated at least changing some of the parameters within a park and PLC to improve the reference prices that are built in to help make those programs more proactive in helping farmers when we do have income downturns like we've experienced over the past couple of years.
Do you have any final thoughts or recap of our conversation?
Well, I think in this case, like I say, as I'm looking at the farm economy, I do see signs for slow improvement as we're looking forward out there. But it's hinging along upon a lot of things here. A crucial piece being that we continue to build back some international demand. And that's where the Mississippi River issues and the port system issues do loom large, because the longer those issues go on, the less likely the farm economy recovers. But that also brings us to our discussion on the Farm Bill and how the Farm Bill represents that safety net for agriculture. So now is sort of a critical juncture within agriculture where we're seeing this combination of weaker market conditions along with some troubles physically moving crops and livestock, along with a lack of policy right now that has put ag in a weakened position, but in a period of time where we likely will strengthen as we move forward through 2025.
Thanks, Chad.
Thank you.
This is Chad Hart from Iowa State University Extension on back roads of Illinois. This is close bell numbers of the commodity markets from Kyle Bumstead from Allendale Inc. Corn futures finished up at 4.28 for December corn. March corn finishing up at 4.44 at the half. May corn are up at 4.60. Soybean futures are up at 10.18 for November beans. January beans are up at 10.55. April beans are up at 10.73. Chicago wheat is up for a quarter at 5.58. March wheat are up at 5.71. May wheat are up at 5.81 the quarter. This time is your livestock markets update. Cattle futures finishing up to 8 to 10 cents. Feeder cattle finishing up to 7 to 9 cents a quarter. Lean hogs finishing up 3 to 5 cents. This is close bell numbers of the commodity markets from Kyle Bumstead from Allendale Inc. Thanks to Chad Hart from Iowa State. We're running out of time on our show, but you can listen to our show wherever you get your podcast that's been Back Roads of Illinois. I'm Cesar Delgado. Have a great day.